Hello and welcome. Happy Tuesday morning. It's right now, as we speak right now, it's 11:29 on Monday. I'm recording this, gonna upload it to YouTube as I go to bed. We're gonna wake up, it's gonna be there, and then you're gonna see this at probably about like 8 or so in the morning when I head off to work. But before I go to work, before I go to bed, we're gonna talk about some fantasy football. How does that sound? And before we actually talk about fantasy football, let's get some housekeeping out of the way and other swag house fantasy federation leagues. With 1 week left in the Southern Mini Dynasty, year 2 of baseball, we have made the turn in the championship matchup in the Janes Bowl between me and Lucas. I hold a slim 8-6-1 lead in categories. A lot of things could change still. It's going to come down to the wire, and we'll give you an update this time next week when we know who the champion is and who gets the money. But it's a big one. It's a big one, and we're excited to see not excited to see baseball go away necessarily, but excited to crown a champion. And whether it's me or Lucas, it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. But you're not in that baseball league. Maybe you are, but a lot of you aren't. We're here to talk about football. Let's talk about football. Let's do it. What a week one that was. What a Monday night game that was. Holy shit, between the Ravens and the Raiders. What a great way to finish it up. A lot of cool storylines in the NFL. I mean, there are cool storylines in this league. It's going to take a while, I think, to actually fully flesh some of those out. But some cool performances. Some people really impressed me. There's not really many people that disappointed me necessarily, but there are some teams that really, really made a statement. You kind of know where I'm going, Beery. Let's go do it. Let's go do it. What do we want to talk about? Which game are we talking about first? We're going to talk about Lucas and Robert first. Hot Chub Time Machine against the Road Fuckers. Left this matchup, honestly, more impressed with both teams than I was going into the week. I think there are some players on both sides of the ball, and I don't think I really gave them their due right away. But in the results, Lucas is going to come away with a victory, 161.96 to 150.7. Really comes down to Lucas got a couple of good performances from those defensive players that we talked about last week. He had some of those studs on defense, and that's just a strategy that I didn't really know to do, and not really many people knew to do. And we'll see if that actually pans out. But this week, in a very small sample size, it did pan out. Let's take a look at some big performances. I'm just kind of looking at your rosters here. Lucas got big day from Russell Wilson. Eric Kendricks. Yeah, Eric Kendricks. That's the big one. 20 points from a linebacker. That's massive. And that's what propelled him to a win. Also, the Buccaneers, specifically special teams, got him 11 points. That's big time. Dak Prescott also 35 on his bench, so it could have been even more points for the Road Fuckers. Over for Robert, the namesake, Nick Chubb, looks good. 22 points. He looked honestly really good against the Chiefs. But yeah, nothing from Khalil Mack. That sucks. Nothing from Mostert. That sucks. Cooper Kupp went crazy. Lamar Jackson did what he needed to do, but just not enough for Robert. Going to fall to 0-1. Lucas obviously to 1-0. Top scorers for Lucas, Russell Wilson, Eric Kendricks, Miles Sanders. And for Robert, it's Cooper Kupp, Nick Chubb, Lamar Jackson. All right, let's keep it moving. We're going to try and keep it tidy. Definitely not going to get to 45 minutes, but we'll try and keep things hustling here. Let's talk about the Austin boys. Let's talk about the Spamtown Classic in the Metro Division. Hunter Lewis, Isaac Schumacher, which is also the third place baseball game happening right now. I do not know the score of that, but they're playing each other in the two sports that are active right now. And Hunter, at least in football, is going to come away with this victory, 153.94 to 134.1. The Disciples are the only team not only to not crack 150, but to not crack 140. Just not a great week overall for the Disciples. And Colton McGolden going to come away with a pretty easy dub here. Let's go take a look and see who kind of shat the bed and who did well. Matt Ryan, yikes. Najee Harris, yeah, projected 15, get you 5.9. That's not great. Marquez, or Quez? I don't know. But either way, Callaway, projected 12, 2.4. Yeesh. Yeah, there's some stinkers over there, and that's just not good. You don't like seeing that. For Hunter, who did well? Chris Godwin, Jesus Christ. 14.8 projected, 29.5 actual. Look at that. That Thursday night game was nuts, too. There were a lot of really good games this week. Cowboys, Bucks definitely being one of them. Let's go top scorers here now that we know that Hunter is 1-0, Shoe is 0-1. So, Cold McGolden, top scorers, Godwin, Joe Burrow, A.J. Brown, your top three there. For Shoe and the Disciples, it's Travis Kelce, Tyson Williams, who was a third-string running back in Baltimore before J.K. Dobbins went down, and now Gus Edwards is down as well. So that whole entire running back room is Tyson Williams and Le'Veon Bell. And he got him 18.4, at least Tyson did. And then Alvin Kamara, 18.1 for Shoe. All right. Keep it moving. Outstate. Second outstate matchup. Probably the second most impressive showing, and a very impressive showing nonetheless. Do not mean to take away and not give them the number one spot, but you know where I'm going to go with the most impressive performance. And we'll talk about that game next. But we're not talking about that game yet. We're talking about Andrew Schumacher and the Washington football team putting up 182 points on Elliott's head in Respect Bowl 3. I'm not sure who holds the edge now. I think it might be Andrew 2-1 if we count basketball. Or no, because Elliott won. Oh, actually, yeah. Andrew now holds the advantage 2-1 in Respect Bowls all time. And it's on the back of Mr. Tyreek Hill. Jesus, 42.1 for the kid. Patrick Mahomes had more than Tom Brady, and Andrew decided to start Tom Brady against the Cowboys defense rather than putting Mahomes up against Cleveland. Mahomes had 38, but it's okay because, Andrew still won by 30, and it was on the back of Tom Brady, who put up 32.16 for him. And Adam Thielen, a big day for the native Minnesotan, not a good day for many Minnesota football fans yesterday when the Bengals beat them in overtime, but Thielen had 2 touchdowns and 30.2 points. In losing efforts for the Twismas, I don't think Elliott has much reason to be super sad because he had some guys still ball, most notably Kyler Murray with 33.56 and a dismantling of Tennessee, and CeeDee Lamb in a losing effort to Tom Brady and those Buccaneers, but 28.4 points, and CeeDee Lamb looks like he's going to be a problem. Jonathan Taylor also 17.6. Those are your top scorers. Andrew obviously moves to 1-0 and outstate. Elliott is now 0-1, and we'll keep it moving. We got to go back to the Metro and talk about the most impressive performance, and of course it's against the Millers, but it's okay. It's okay. Long season. You don't want to hear that from me. What we do want to hear, though, we need to talk about a fine Pilsner. We have to talk about Ryan Beery, because what Beery just did it just boggles my mind. I don't think we're going to see point totals like this for a while. I really don't think so, because Andrew was second in total points scored for the week with a $182. Fine Pilsner put up 225.88. He is clear of the field by 40 and clear of, I think, the average score by damn near 75 points. Just absolutely absurd. It's on the back of the top scorer of the entire week, regardless of team. It's Amari Cooper in a losing effort for Dallas. Puts up 43.9. And he had Deebo Samuel that went off for 36.9. And he had Darren Waller that went off for 31.5 on Monday night when it didn't even matter. It's just one of those days. Everything went right for Beery and his players, and it just looks like they are going to be a force to be reckoned with if their teams can keep this going. Not a bad showing for the Millers in a losing effort. There's nothing that could have done. There's just absolutely nothing. But we look good. Guys look good. Christian McCaffrey, 27.7. Hawkinson did his thing as a tight end, 25.7. And Justin Herbert, 18.38. So Beery, 1-0. I am 0-1. So, the last 2 games here, the Sparks Bowl between Graham and Gavin, and then the Dystonia Bowl, which was the game of the week between Dylan and Kevin. Both of those games, we went into Monday night with a team in the lead, and both those teams were overtaken on Monday night. We'll talk about the Sparks one first, and that is on the back of Josh Jacobs, who it was unclear if he was going to play. because he had an illness and a toe thing, and he got downgraded to questionable like on Sunday, and it was like, oh my God, is he gonna play? Is Graham really gonna like sneak out of here with a win? Gavin needed like 10 points from Josh Jacobs, which you would expect him to get. But then if he's not gonna play, then obviously he's not gonna get the points. And then he actually gets into the game. What's he gonna do? The yardage wasn't there. The touchdowns were. 2 scores for Josh Jacobs, more than enough for Gavin to overtake his older brother on Monday night and win 171.22 to 166.52. A couple of good totals, honestly, for both guys. It's good performances from both Sparks brothers in week 1. Top scorers for the No Source Schefters and the elder Graham Sparks. Top scorer for him is Rob Gronkowski over DeAndre Hopkins, too. And DeAndre Hopkins looked sick on Sunday. The whole Cardinals team looked sick. DeAndre Hopkins really the most among them. And David Montgomery, 23.8, rounds out his top scorers. For Gavin, who gets a dub, Tyler Lockett, 31 points, probably damn near half of them on that big-ass touchdown catch he had. It was like 65 yards or something like that. Joe Mixon, an even 30, and Keenan Allen, an even 24. Gavin obviously 1-0. Graham, 0-1. And now let's talk about the game of the week. Dylan Hilliker has not won a Dystonia Bowl, and he goes into Monday night with a 15-point lead on Kevin. And what did you expect to happen? It always goes down for this dude. Dylan just cannot catch a break in these fantasy leagues, man. It was all up to Marquise Hollywood Brown for the Baltimore Ravens. Kevin needed like 15 and got 19.4 from the speedster. So final score in the game of the week, the first game of the week of the year, 153.7 to the Hams, 150.06 to New Brunswick brain damage. Kevin 1-0, Dylan 0-1. Top scorers, Dylan still has reason to be excited because 2 of his top 3 are young Eagles. Jalen Hurts, 28.76, looked really good against Atlanta. Dalvin Cook, a quiet 20.4. You want a little bit more, maybe, but you'll take 20 every day. And Devontae Smith, 19.1. Good showing for the young Eagles on his team. Bright future ahead, I think. For the Hams, who take this win, go to 1-0. Elliot was telling me a few days ago, this is a little bit of a tangent, and he said Kevin was going to win the league, or at least be very, very good in this league. And he talked about one player in particular that was going to be very underrated, and he said it was Brandon Cooks, a wide receiver in Houston now. And I kind of thought at least, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd say that. Brandon Cooks led the Hermantown Hams with 23.2 points. So, once again, Elliot is correct. Elliot is always correct and will be correct. Hollywood Brown, the aforementioned, 19.4, and Josh Allen, a very quiet 17.2, but it is in a winning effort for the Hams. So, 6 teams obviously 1-0, 6 teams 0-1. We won't get into that too much. We won't talk about the standings necessarily. Let's just go through and go to week number 2, which will still be in division. You're going to play your entire division, go through week 5, and then you're going to go Metro Outstate battles and do all that. But you're going to play everyone on your side of this league first. So, week 2. What are we excited for? Road Fuckers Twismas. We'll start with that. A 1-0 team in Lucas. A good showing for him. You want to see Elliott make a move here. I mean, there's a lot of storylines that could happen. Next week is going to be a big-time moving day, and we're going to have a lot of storylines then. But right now, it's just one game. You just played one team. We don't know who's real, who's fake. But it'd be huge for Lucas, honestly, to win and go to 2-0, especially against Elliott, who had a really, really high power ranking and still is up there. Has fallen from 2nd to 4th. That changes like by the day. I don't know how ESPN does that, so I'm not really going to get too far into that. Either way, Road Fuckers Twismas is a game that is happening in Outstate next week. Let's go to a Metro one. What do we want to talk about? Oh, Disciples Hams. Shu and Kevin. We actually do have 2 in-house matchups here in Minneapolis. And the first one we'll talk about is just Shu playing Kevin. We'll see if the Disciples can bounce back, and we'll see if Kevin can make it happen here. If he can come out of this first 2 weeks 2-0, it's going to be very good. If you can get out of here 2-0, if you can start 2-0, that's going to be Huge, huge, huge. 0-2, I think you can come back from, but I think being undefeated is huge. It's a big thing. All right, outstate, outstate, outstate. Robert and Graham. Robert and Graham are going to play each other. Hot Tub Time Machine, the No Source Shefters. Both teams 0-1, coming off kind of hard luck losses. So it's going to be interesting to see there who's got the team, who's got the depth. Robert's still got to battle with Gus Edwards and see what happens, but he's got some players. Nick Chubb looked really good against a good Kansas City team. So if he can carry the load, I mean, why not us? Why not us? Or why not them? It's not me, you know. Then the other house matchup, a couple of 0-1 teams that are really going to want a dub. The Millers, for sure, and New Brunswick Brain Damage. That might be Desperation Bowl. That's actually Horse Tornado Bowl. Yeah, we're gonna go play a couple shows. We're gonna be playing each other in fantasy football. So if you're in Rochester, come to Thesis on Wednesday. If you're in Minneapolis, come to Mortimer's on Friday. First 2 Horse Tornado shows with this lineup. Yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. I'm playing guitar, and obviously Dylan is singing and doing drums at the same time. You never seen that? You should go watch it. It's dope. Wednesday, Thesis. Friday, Mortimer's in Minneapolis. Either way, we're talking about fantasy football still. What are the 2 that are left? There's 2 that are left. Oh, yeah. We've been talking about 0-1 teams that need to win. How about this matchup here? It's not the game of the week, but this was very close. Washington football team and the Mason Shitty Muppets. Obviously, I hyped up the Muppets in my video last week. Come out with a win, put up 170 plus points. They looked really good, lived up to the name. And then the Washington football team, oh my God, 182. That's really good. So this might be a little bit of a heavyweight fight here in week 2. We might come back and look at this matchup and go, damn, showed us a lot. So we'll see. We'll see. Still a lot of unanswered questions. Obviously, I don't want to go too far into things yet. But the small storylines that we do have, that's one of them there. And then, the game of the week. It all lined up, didn't it? The Beer Bowl. The Beer Bowl. A fine Pilsner, Ryan Beery versus Cold McGolden. Do you like Millers, or Miller Lights, I guess? Because, obviously, the fine Pilsners don't like the Millers, so they kick my ass. But do you like a Pilsner, or do you like a McGolden? We're going to see how the football gods take that one. Both 1-0 teams, both Metro Division. The winner of that game will take the top spot in the Metro Division, 2-0. And then over in Outstate, which is the game we just talked about, football team Muppets, the winner of that game will be at the top there. Right? Yeah, most likely. Most likely, I should say that. There are a couple other 1-0 teams that could make things happen and go to 2-0, but yeah. I'm tired, man. We're 18 minutes in. We just finished up week 1. That's really all I have. Other housekeeping things. We talked about basketball. We talked about hockey in the last one. So we'll come back to that. We're probably less than a month away, but not something to really get super freaked out about just yet. In a couple weeks, we'll start talking about it a little bit more. Obviously, baseball wraps up on Sunday, and then it'll just be football for a couple weeks. So, really good to have football back. Really good to be able to sit on the couch and do jack shit on Sunday, isn't it? It's really, really nice. Thursday, make sure... who is the Thursday night game? Giants football team, I believe it is. I don't know. Thursday night football. Yep. Giants football team. So if you have people on those teams, just make sure. I know it's a little bit different than basketball. We're just talking about this for people that have just kind of started to play. Just make sure that you check your lineup at least once before Thursday, and just everything that you need is in the right spot. We'll have a lot more storylines at least to talk about when we get to this time next week. This will kind of be the schedule. I think I'll record them on Monday night, put them up on Tuesday morning, and we'll talk about it through Tuesday. I'm going to go into the office, so yeah, if you Snapchat me, I'm going to be at an office in Bloomington. So thanks for listening. My name's Isaac. You know that. I'm in this league. You are too. We're going to do all that shit. Yeah. Good talking with you. We'll see you on Tuesday, next Tuesday, and set your fucking lineups.